Most people think fasting detoxes your body, that by skipping meals, you somehow activate a deep cleansing process that wasn't happening before. But the truth is, your kidneys were already doing that long before you decided to fast. Every single minute of every single day, your kidneys are filtering your blood. Quietly, consistently. Without you ever noticing, they don't wait for a detox plan. They don't need a special drink. They don't suddenly turn on when you stop eating. They are always on. And yet, fasting does change something. Not in the way most people think, but in a way that's far more precise, far more controlled, and far more interesting. Because fasting doesn't start detox. It changes how your kidneys behave. Your kidneys are responsible for filtering around 180 liters of blood every day. That's not a small process. That's a constant flow of fluid, nutrients, waste products, electrolytes, all being sorted, balanced, and regulated in real time. They remove substances your body doesn't need, like urea and creatinine, while carefully retaining what must stay, like sodium, potassium, and water. So when people talk about flushing toxins, they're describing something your body is already doing perfectly well on its own. The problem is, most people don't understand what actually changes during fasting. They assume it's a cleaning process, when in reality, it's an adaptation process. Because your body is not suddenly removing something new, it is adjusting to the absence of incoming nutrients. And your kidneys are at the center of that adjustment. When you stop eating, your body doesn't panic. It doesn't immediately begin purging anything. It simply starts recalibrating. It shifts how it manages fluids, how it balances electrolytes, and how it processes waste. But none of this happens instantly. Just like with fat burning, there is a timeline, a sequence your body follows. And within that sequence, your kidneys quietly change how they operate, step by step. This is where the misunderstanding begins. Because the early changes, like increased urination or quick drops in weight, feel like something is being cleansed. They feel like your body is flushing something out. But what you're actually experiencing is not detox in the way people imagine. It's regulation. It's your kidneys responding to a new internal environment. And once you understand that, the entire idea of detox starts to look very different. So if your kidneys were already detoxing, what actually changes during fasting? That's where things get interesting. It's easy to believe that your body is filled with toxins that need to be removed, that somehow, over time, things build up inside you and require a special reset. But your body was never designed to function that way. You are not a container of toxins waiting to be flushed out. From the moment you were born, your body has been equipped with systems specifically designed to manage and remove waste. And your kidneys are one of the most important parts of that system. They don't wait for a signal. They don't need a trigger. They work continuously, adjusting to whatever your body needs in that moment. Every drop of blood that passes through your kidneys is being filtered. Waste products like urea and creatinine are separated and prepared for removal. At the same time, essential substances, water, sodium, potassium, glucose, are carefully reabsorbed and balanced. This is not a simple filter. It's a highly selective process. Your kidneys are constantly deciding what to keep and what to release. They are maintaining your internal environment within a very narrow range, making sure everything stays stable even as your external conditions change. And this is the key idea most people miss. Detox is not something your body starts doing during fasting. Detox is something your body never stops doing. So when you begin fasting, your kidneys don't suddenly become more active in the way people imagine. They don't flush out toxins in a dramatic wave. Instead, they begin to adapt to a new set of inputs, or more accurately, the absence of them. Because when you stop eating, you're not just removing calories. You're removing a constant flow of nutrients, electrolytes, and fluids that your body has become used to processing. And your kidneys have to adjust. They have to recalibrate how much sodium to retain, how much water to hold on to, how much waste to excrete. They have to maintain balance in a system that is now operating under different conditions. This is where fasting actually begins to matter. Not because it triggers a cleanse, but because it changes the environment your kidneys are working within. And your kidneys respond by becoming more precise. They fine-tune fluid balance. They adjust electrolyte levels. They maintain the stability of your blood, even as your metabolism begins to shift. So instead of imagining fasting as a dramatic purge, it's more accurate to see it as a quiet recalibration. Your body is not trying to eliminate something new. It is trying to maintain balance with less input. And your kidneys are the ones making that possible. They don't suddenly start working. They adapt. In the first few hours after you stop eating, your body is still operating under the influence of your last meal. Nutrients are still circulating through your bloodstream, and your kidneys are actively filtering and adjusting based on what has just entered your system. Glucose, amino acids, electrolytes, and fluids are all being processed. Your kidneys are regulating sodium levels, managing water balance, and ensuring that your blood composition remains stable. This is what they do in the fed state: respond to incoming nutrients and maintain equilibrium. At the same time, insulin levels are still relatively elevated. And insulin doesn't just affect fat storage. It also influences how your kidneys handle sodium and water. When insulin is high, your body tends to retain more sodium. And when sodium is retained, water follows. This is why after eating, especially meals higher in carbohydrates, your body often holds on to more fluid. So during these first 0 to 4 hours, your kidneys are not flushing anything out. In fact, in some ways, they are doing the opposite. They are maintaining fluid, holding on to certain electrolytes, and carefully balancing what your body has just received. This is a controlled, stable phase. Nothing dramatic is happening yet. There is no sudden increase in waste removal, no accelerated cleansing. Your kidneys are simply continuing their normal function, filtering your blood and keeping everything within a precise range. This is where expectations often become disconnected from reality. People assume that once they stop eating, their body immediately begins some kind of internal purge. But biologically, your body doesn't jump into a new mode that quickly. It completes the process it has already started. Your kidneys are still responding to your last meal. They are still managing the nutrients that entered your system hours ago. They are still operating in a fed state environment. And because of that, you won't notice much difference during this phase. There may be no increase in urination, no visible signs of change. Everything feels relatively normal. And that's because your internal systems are still in balance with what you've consumed. But beneath that stability, something subtle is beginning. Because now that no new nutrients are entering your system, insulin is no longer being reinforced. It begins to decline gradually, and as insulin falls, the signals that control fluid retention and electrolyte balance begin to shift. Your kidneys are preparing to respond, not immediately, not all at once, but gradually. They are adjusting to a new internal environment that is no longer being driven by constant intake. And while you may not feel it yet, this is the beginning of a change that will soon become more noticeable. For now, your body remains steady. Your kidneys are still doing what they always do, filtering, balancing, maintaining, but they are also getting ready. Because as the hours pass, the environment inside your body will change, and when it does, your kidneys will change with it. As you move further away from your last meal, something begins to shift in a way you can actually notice. It's no longer just subtle internal adjustments. Now your kidneys start responding more visibly to the changing conditions inside your body. Between 4 and 8 hours, insulin continues to decline. And as insulin drops, one of its lesser-known effects begins to fade: its influence on sodium retention. Earlier, when insulin was higher, your body was holding on to sodium, and as a result, holding on to water. But now, that signal is weakening. Your kidneys begin to release more sodium into your urine. And when sodium leaves your body, water follows. And this is one of the earliest and most noticeable changes during fasting. You may start to urinate more frequently. You may notice a slight drop in body weight within a short period of time. And this is often the moment when people believe something dramatic is happening, when they think their body is detoxing. But what's actually happening is much simpler. You are losing water. At the same time, your liver's glycogen stores are beginning to break down to maintain your blood sugar, and glycogen holds water along with it. For every gram of glycogen, your body stores several grams of water. So as glycogen is used, that water is released, and your kidneys help remove it. This creates a noticeable effect. Your body feels lighter, less bloated. The number on the scale may drop quickly, and it's very easy to interpret this as fat loss or toxin removal. But it's neither. It's a fluid shift. Your body is simply adjusting to a lower level of stored energy and a lower level of insulin. And your kidneys are managing that transition by releasing excess sodium and water to maintain balance. This is where the idea of detox becomes misleading, because what most people describe as cleansing is often just this natural process of fluid regulation. Your kidneys are not flushing out hidden toxins. They are doing what they always do, maintaining equilibrium as conditions change. And yet, this phase is important because it marks the beginning of your body moving away from the fed state. It's no longer holding on to everything. It's starting to let go of what it doesn't need in the same way. But this is still not the deeper change. You are not yet in the phase where your metabolism has fully shifted. Your body is still using available resources, still stabilizing, still transitioning. And just like with fat burning, many people stop here. They see the early drop in weight. They feel the initial changes, and they assume the process has already reached its peak. But in reality, this is just the surface. Because beyond this point, something much more complex begins to happen. Something that has nothing to do with water, and everything to do with how your body maintains balance when its entire fuel system starts to change. And your kidneys play a critical role in that transition. As you move into the 8 to 12-hour window, your body begins to shift in a way that goes beyond simple fluid changes. Up until now, your kidneys have mainly been adjusting to changes in sodium and water, but now, something deeper begins to happen. Your entire metabolism starts to transition. Glycogen stores inside your liver are becoming depleted. The easy, short-term energy your body has been relying on is running low, and when that happens, your body is forced to find a different source of fuel. It turns to fat. As fat cells begin to release fatty acids into the bloodstream, your liver converts those fatty acids into ketones. These ketones become an alternative fuel source for your brain, your muscles, and your organs. This is the metabolic shift people often associate with fasting. But this shift creates a new challenge for your body. Because ketones are not neutral. They are slightly acidic, and as their levels begin to rise in your bloodstream. Your body must maintain a very tight balance in your blood's pH. Even small changes in acidity can affect how your cells function. This is where your kidneys become critically important. Your kidneys are not just filtering waste anymore. They are now actively regulating your internal environment to keep everything stable during this shift. They begin to manage the acid-base balance in your blood, ensuring that the increase in ketones does not push your system too far out of its normal range. They do this by adjusting how they filter and excrete certain substances. They help remove excess acids when needed. They conserve important electrolytes. They fine-tune the composition of your blood so that your body can continue functioning smoothly even as its fuel source changes. At the same time, your electrolyte balance begins to shift. Sodium, potassium, and other minerals are constantly being adjusted by your kidneys. These electrolytes are essential for nerve function, muscle contractions, and fluid balance. As your body transitions into this new metabolic state, your kidneys must carefully regulate these levels to prevent imbalances. This is why some people begin to feel slightly different during this phase. Not just hunger or fatigue, but sometimes subtle sensations related to hydration or energy levels. These are not signs of something going wrong. They are signs that your body is actively stabilizing itself during a complex transition. And this is the key idea. Your kidneys are not detoxing. They are protecting your internal balance. As your body shifts from glucose to fat as its primary fuel source, your kidneys act as regulators. They make sure that this transition happens safely, without disrupting the delicate systems that keep you functioning. Without this regulation, the metabolic switch would not be sustainable. So while most of the attention during fasting is placed on fat burning or ketone production, your kidneys are quietly doing something just as important. They are maintaining the environment that allows those processes to continue. They are ensuring that your body doesn't just change, but adapts. And as you move beyond this phase, that adaptation becomes even more refined. As you move beyond this point, into longer fasting periods, your body is no longer just reacting, it begins to adapt. The initial changes that once felt noticeable start to stabilize, and your internal systems become more efficient at handling this new metabolic state. Ketone levels in your blood continue to rise, but your body no longer treats them as something unfamiliar. Instead of simply filtering them out, your kidneys begin to adjust. They start reabsorbing more ketones rather than losing them in urine. This is a sign of adaptation. Your body is learning to use this fuel more effectively instead of wasting it. At the same time, your fluid balance becomes more precise. Earlier, during the transition phase, you may have lost more water and sodium. But now, your kidneys begin to regulate more carefully. They reduce unnecessary loss, conserve what your body needs, and maintain a more stable internal environment. Hormones also play a role here. Aldosterone, which helps regulate sodium and fluid balance, begins to adjust. Antidiuretic hormone, which controls how much water your kidneys retain, and also shifts. Together, these signals fine-tune how your body handles hydration during fasting. This is why the initial rapid changes you might have noticed, frequent urination, quick drops in weight, tend to slow down. Your body is no longer in a reactive state. It is now in a controlled, adaptive state. Your kidneys are not just responding anymore, they are optimizing. And this optimization allows your body to function more smoothly, even without constant food intake. Your hydration becomes more stable. Your electrolyte levels become more balanced. Your energy becomes more consistent. You may notice that you feel less bloated. Your body feels lighter, but not in a temporary way. Your system feels more stable. You are no longer experiencing the same fluctuations. But this phase also comes with an important consideration. Because as your kidneys adjust to this new state, they rely on a balance of electrolytes to maintain proper function. If that balance is disrupted, if sodium, potassium, or fluid intake is too low, your body can experience symptoms like fatigue, dizziness, or weakness. This is not because fasting is harmful. It is because your body is working within a different set of conditions, and those conditions require awareness. Your kidneys are doing their job, maintaining balance, protecting your internal environment, adapting to the absence of constant intake. But they cannot create electrolytes out of nothing. They can only regulate what is available. This is why hydration and mineral balance matter during longer fasting periods. Not because you need to flush toxins, but because your body is now operating in a more sensitive, more precise state. And when that balance is maintained, your system becomes more efficient. Your kidneys become more selective, more accurate, more stable in how they filter and regulate your blood. They support the metabolic changes happening throughout your body, ensuring that everything remains within a safe and functional range. This is the real effect of fasting on your kidneys. Not a dramatic cleanse, but a gradual recalibration. A shift from reactive regulation to controlled adaptation. And this is what allows your body to function smoothly, even as everything inside it changes. And this is where the misunderstanding around fasting and detox becomes clear. Because at no point in this entire process did your kidneys suddenly switch on. They were never inactive. They were never waiting for a cleanse. They were working the entire time, filtering your blood, balancing your fluids, regulating your internal environment with incredible precision. Fasting didn't activate your kidneys. It changed the conditions they operate in. And once those conditions changed, your kidneys adapted. This is the difference most people never realize. They imagine fasting as a reset button, something that clears out built-up toxins and starts the body fresh again. But your body doesn't work in bursts like that. It works in continuous regulation. It adjusts moment by moment, based on what you give it or what you stop giving it. So when you fast, your kidneys don't suddenly clean more. They simply adjust how they filter, how they retain, and how they release. They shift from managing constant input to maintaining balance with less input. And that requires precision. Because without steady food intake, your body becomes more dependent on internal regulation. Electrolytes must be carefully balanced. Fluids must be properly managed. Waste must still be removed, even as your metabolism changes. Your kidneys handle all of this, quietly, automatically, without needing your attention. But that doesn't mean your actions don't matter. Because one of the biggest mistakes people make during fasting is ignoring hydration. They assume that if they're not eating, they don't need to think about what's going into their body. But your kidneys still rely on water to function. They still require a proper balance of minerals to regulate your internal environment. If that balance is disrupted, your body will tell you. You may feel lightheaded. You may feel weak. You may feel like something is off. And these signals are not signs that your body is failing. They are signs that your body needs support. Not through detox products, not through extreme interventions, but through simple awareness. Drinking enough water, paying attention to how you feel, understanding that your body is operating under different conditions and responding accordingly. Because once you understand what fasting actually does and what it doesn't do, you stop chasing the wrong goal. You stop trying to cleanse your body, and you start supporting it. You realize that your kidneys have always been protecting you. always maintaining balance, always filtering what needs to be removed while keeping what matters. Fasting doesn't replace that system. It reveals it. It shows you how your body adapts when the constant input is removed, how it recalibrates, how it maintains stability even as its fuel source shifts. And that's where the real value lies. Not in the idea of detox, but in the understanding of adaptation. So if you've ever believed that fasting was flushing toxins out of your body, you're not alone. It's a common idea, but now you can see it differently. Your kidneys were never waiting to be activated. They were already working. Fasting simply changed the environment, and your kidneys responded. And once you understand that, you stop looking for dramatic changes and start recognizing the quiet, consistent intelligence of your body. Have you ever noticed how quickly your body feels lighter during fasting? Or how your hydration seems to change without you doing anything different? That's not detox. That's regulation. And now, for the first time, you can see exactly how it works.